Go. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Grace Roots August monthly Be Strong Talk. And I'm going to just turn it right over to board member of Grace Roots, Archie Leidy. And Archie Leidy, please give us an introduction of what we're doing here.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for being for taking some of your time out tonight to listen to another fantastic story of someone who has overcome many struggles and who has developed something that has helped her learn how to be strong. And the purpose of this whole group is to the purpose of these talks is to help us not only learn from the struggles of other people, but to learn what it is that they do to make them strong on a daily basis to live life. So we are very, very blessed and lucky to have you here, Amanda. And I look forward to hearing from exactly what it is that makes you strong. Thank you.
Thanks, Archie. As many of you may know, Archie's the brainchild behind our Be Strong theme, and we have these lovely shirts available on our website at grace-roots.org if anybody wants some, and we'll be supplying a shirt or two to anybody who chooses to be our guest speaker, as Amanda's doing tonight. And so, Amanda, I'll connect with you later to get you the Be Strong shirt so you can commemorate tonight. But this is August 2021 Be Strong Talk, and you can also find our past talks on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Grace Roots Be Strong, and you'll see some of our past fantastic talks. But Amanda, let's go ahead and kick it off, and let's hear your personal Be Strong story. And tonight we have Amanda Esquivel with us, and thanks again, Amanda, for joining us. And go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Jay, and thank you, Archie. I'm grateful to be asked to share tonight. 5 years ago, this would have, it still terrifies me, but I'm glad that I've gained experience within recovery to be present. So, like I said, my name is Amanda. I'm a person in long-term recovery. My clean date is 7/15/16. And so I'm going to share a little bit about, how my addiction looked like, but I mainly like to focus on what I do in recovery and the struggles that I've gone through while in recovery, because, it's not a cakewalk once you get in. And I think that's just as important or more important than the destruction. So, for me, I can remember back to when I was a child and having addictive behaviors. The first time that I can remember using a substance to remove myself from feeling or a situation was when I was 11 years old. I ended up having surgery on one of my ears and getting 2 hearing bones removed. So it was a pretty severe surgery. And I remember lying about like the pain levels that I was in to obtain more substances. And I remember like loving the way that they made me feel. And like over my childhood, I remember having like those pain bottles from surgeries or doctor visits inside the cupboard, and like sneaking some every now and then. Just attracted to the feeling. As time progressed and I was in high school, and I was able to work, I took advantage of not being questioned where I was by my parents. They were hardworking individuals that they were gone, but they definitely made sure that we had the things that we needed. And I took advantage of the situation, and I started working 40 hours a week while I was in high school, and smoking weed or driving out to the forest to get drunk. And I remember, like that was what I looked forward to. And so eventually, my grades started to decrease, and I went immediately from drinking and smoking weed to heroin. And heroin always attracted me, just because, like as a teen, I knew so many like celebrities or whatever that I thought I looked up to, that was their drug of choice. And so I just, wanted to do it, wanted to be more creative. And for some reason thought that would be, the golden ticket. Which led me to graduate high school with a full-blown heroin addiction. I remember walking down graduation and being dope sick. I remember like the only thing that got me through graduation was the adrenaline that was going through me. Other than that, I was in withdrawal. And I remember my parents being there and my family being there, and I didn't care. I wanted to get off of the football field as soon as possible, so that way I could go get another fix. I didn't want to participate in the graduation events. I just wanted to get well. And that's what I did the night of my graduation, was just got high. And that ended up leading to, me obtaining jobs, losing jobs because, I was nodding out on the phone or whatever. I just wasn't employable. And then getting into an extremely toxic relationship that ended up lasting about 8 years. And through that time, I ended up, ended up with a lot of criminal behaviors. I would steal to get high. I would manipulate. I'd go out searching for houses that were empty, so that way I could find whatever I could, when people weren't there, which led me to, incarceration. And I spent 13 years in and out of jail. Getting possessions, distributions, getting raided. And finally, my higher power did for me what I couldn't do for myself, and removed me by the situation by placing me into the Department of Corrections, which was my saving grace. I couldn't get out of this codependent toxic relationship that I was in. I didn't feel like I had any value or self-worth to want anything or obtain anything in life. For me, what I saw was that I was going to continue to use until I died, or I went to prison. That was just going to be my continuous repetition of life. And while I was in prison, I ended up meeting individuals and that decided not to use, and there, as we all know, that there are drugs in prison and there's ways to get high. And these individuals decided that they were not going to do that, and we were going to do something different. And we're going to 12-step meetings. And at first, like my intentions of going to 12-step meetings wasn't to be a better individual. It was to get off my unit and to go and interact with people that were on different units, right? And I ended up seeing that people were actually, giving a shot at being clean. And these were people that had nothing to really motivate them to do so, right? Like they had 15, 25 years to life, or they had substantial amounts of time and they weren't going home anytime soon. And for me, as an addict, I was like, well, right now is the time for you to party. You can figure it all out, a year to the gate, and try to, better your life. But why are you doing it now? And I realized that there was a freedom, that 12-step programs gave people that, that society couldn't give you. And it was a freedom from your own mind, right? Because I've experienced imprisonment, and I've also experienced imprisonment that I've created for myself. Even if I was out and about and free, I was still in prison with my own mental thoughts and my own self-hate, And so while I was in prison, several people ended up getting sick in my family, in my immediate family. One of them was, who they were was my mom, my brother, and my grandmother. My mom and my grandmother ended up actually developing cancer. And my grandmother had terminal cancer. And so I knew that I wanted to do something different when I got out. Like I remember praying to my higher power and just like wanting just to be able to have time with my grandmother, just any time that I could possibly get, before she passed away. And I got out of prison and I went home. And I remember like walking into my mom's house, like unlike a lot of people, I was given the opportunity to come home to a safe place. and the place where all they wanted was some, for me to be better. And I came home and I walked through the doors and I just felt like I couldn't wash like the disgust off my body. Like I just I felt dirty. I felt like there was not, like I just didn't belong. And what it was shame. I was able to identify later that that was just a feeling of shame and guilt. I had spent my entire addiction avoiding my family because I didn't want them to see me at my worst, and alienating them from my life. And coming home, it was hard. It was hard walking through those doors, and it was hard to stay, right? Like I had learned so well how to run and how to run away from myself and to run away from feelings. And that was like the first chance that I actually like stopped and stayed and didn't run away. And so like I was saying, my grandmother was getting really sick, and I ended up reaching out to an individual that I had used with in the past that I saw on Facebook, and I saw him like going to like pool parties and like playing like board games and like having barbecues, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like we don't do this. Like this isn't what addicts do. Like, this is abnormal behavior. Like I know you're hitting licks behind, everybody's back. Like what are you doing? And what he was doing was working a 12-step program. And he invited me. He's like, if you want to be successful, and this is what I'm doing, and I can share that with you, And so I ended up going to like the smallest meeting I can find in Medford, which was a nooner. And I ended up getting introduced to my sponsor and my sponsee family. And like I remember him telling me that like he was not going to be able to help me like the women in recovery could. And that I was gonna have to step out of my comfort zone to actually, change my behaviors. And I knew I had hard times coming, right? Like I knew there was just time was ticking away with my grandmother, and I didn't know how I was gonna respond to the loss of that situation. So I ended up building relationships with my community and building relationships within recovery, and learning how to actually participate. I remember the last 3 days that my grandmother was alive. I remember not knowing what to do. Unfortunately, like she didn't pass away very peacefully. It was a struggle for her, and I remember sitting in her house and staying by her side the entire time. And I remember being able to be there for my mother, right, and being able to sit there with her and consult her, and I remember like I was the one that like was awake when I could tell that she was nearing her last breaths. And I went and woke everybody up, and we all came into her room and knelt around her bed and held each other, and were there for her last breath. And my family like didn't have to find me for me to be there, and that was like one of like the gifts, like the major gifts in recovery that I can never pay back, right? Like I was able to be present, I wasn't trying to steal the methadone or the medication from my grandmother because I was trying to get well in the freaking bathroom. My mom didn't have to call my friends or find who I was messing with to be able to tell me that my grandmother had died. Like I was there when it happened, and that was a gift that I had prayed to my higher power for, and no matter, and like I was able to call people in recovery to help me through that, and what they told me was just stay, sit down, be present, be of service to your family. Like I know that you're going through something, but if you want to be there for them, ask them how you can help, whether that be washing the dishes, whether that be, helping my grandfather clean the house, like however you can be of service to your family, do it. And that's exactly what I did, and I'm eternally grateful for that, and that wasn't the only hard time that I've had clean. Life does not get easier when you get clean, and you are going to go through a lot of struggles that you are going to want to run away from. In the 13 years of my addiction, the only experiences that I had in life was get high, get sick, rob, steal, find ways to get high again, manipulate. Like there's only like 10 experiences that I actually probably went through in my life. And so when you get clean, like you go through these things that you haven't experienced in years, right? You go through loss, you go through sorrow, you go through heartbreak, you go through happiness, and it's all brand new. I feel like looking back, like it's like adding miracle grow to like a weed, right? Like this weed that's been growing, and like like you're just like in your little zone, and all of a sudden like recovery happens, and all of a sudden you're just like growing at this rapid rate, and like you're screaming inside because you just don't know what to do, and that's how it is, right? Because you just like it's rapid growth when you're in recovery, and like how I've been able to do that and how I've been able to find the strength is to participate with other people, with strong individuals in recovery. Like fast forwarding a few years, I started to go to school, and that was another struggle in itself. Like the feeling of not being good enough has always stayed with me. I've just learned how to combat that, right? I remember like feeling like I didn't deserve education, that I didn't deserve a good job. I didn't deserve my family, I didn't deserve my partner, and those are the struggles that you have to deal with up here, right? It's not all external factors, and those are the things that'll push you out of the rooms and push you out, back into your addiction. And it's taken 5 years for me to feel okay, right? And to feel like I do deserve to be here, and I do deserve a better life. Within recovery, I've discovered who I was. In my addiction, if you asked me what my favorite color was or what my favorite food was, I'd be like, well, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Because I was a people pleaser, and whatever you liked, I liked, as long as it got me high. And today, like I can tell you, and today, like I get to discover who I am, and who I am today may not be the same person that's going to be tomorrow. I've been able to learn how to stand in my truth, and I've been able to learn how to walk through fear. And that's kind of been like the theme song for my recovery, because I didn't realize how much I made decisions out of fear, like fear-based decisions, right? Like I was gonna rob this person because I was scared of getting sick, or I wasn't gonna take this job opportunity in my recovery because I might get turned down, or I wasn't gonna pursue this career because what if I wasn't good enough? Or I wasn't gonna have this conversation with my family because what if they don't fucking like me anymore, And so I remember being able to talk to my sponsor about that, and what she ended up telling me was, and she continuously tells me this, is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And then we get to hash that out and we get to find out, and it's like, well, I would pursue an education, or I would have that conversation with my parents, or I would be honest with my partner, or I would move to Portland, like all these things. And then we get to make an action plan on how to go ahead and do that. And what I've learned is that courage isn't the absence of fear; it's being able to walk through fear. And that's a learned behavior for me, because if I can look back, like I in my addiction, I tried to be somebody so hard and ruthless and this and that, right? And just thought I was, such a badass. And in actuality, I was, all my behaviors surrounded protecting me because I was scared and flight and fight mode all the time. And today I get to be vulnerable, and I get to dissect like how I'm feeling, and it's no longer extremely happy or irate and pissed off. Now I get to dissect, I'm feeling like shameful, or I'm feeling frightened, or I'm feeling complacent, and all these emotions I didn't even think existed, right? And so all this, I've been able to accomplish this through working a program, and being able to reflect on who I am, and being honest, being able to develop, an honest life. So that way I can, truly understand where I'm going. So today, what it looks like for me today is, I've within the last year and a half, I've moved away from my support system, and I decided to pursue a bachelor's up here at PSU. So I ended up moving to Portland, and was extremely terrified. Right, it was the first time that I was leaving home, and I knew that I still had my support system behind me, but I knew that I was going to have a lot of self-reflection on my own. And then COVID happened, and it was like I had so much time with myself that I was just sick and tired of myself. I and it's exactly what I needed. My higher power guided me to that again. I've been able to embrace fully who I am and how I identify, and through those experiences, I've been able to share them with others, and create resources within the community. Today I am proud to be a certified recovery mentor, and I work up here for a recovery center, 40 recovery. And I get to provide services to the LGBTQ community. And that was something that I was shameful of being a part of for a while, because I didn't want to accept who I was, And today that's not my story. Today, I can be proud and stand for what I stand for, and then be there for others that are struggling too. And I'm grateful for that, if you're watching right now, and you're new to this, and you don't know how your life's going to look like in 5 years, understand that none of us do, and if we did, we'd probably try to control it and make it something different. I think that, what's gotten me here is vulnerability, and then the willingness to just accept my higher power's path. I've stopped fighting it, and I've accepted where I'm at, and I've done the work to get to where I'm going. So that's really all I have, and thank you so much for listening to me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks again for sharing, Amanda. So now's our time for questions and feedback and some back and forth. I'll kick us off with just a quick question for you, and then everybody else that we have a handful of people live on the line tonight. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question or give Amanda a comment. So just a quick question: what are maybe the top one or two things that you try to do, say, on a daily basis or a very regular basis to stay strong in recovery?
Yeah, for sure. So what I try to do every single day, I find some way to be of service to somebody else. For me, my a core aspect of my disease was self-centeredness. It was all about me, what I can do for myself, what I can gain for myself. So whether I'm at work or it's my weekend, I try to find a way to be of service to somebody, whether that be pick up the phone, whether that be, go to meetings and share my story. I try to find a way to be of service to my community. And another thing is I check in with people that I've been vulnerable with, right? So whether I'm struggling or whether it's a good day, like I check in. I talk to my partner, I talk to my sponsor, I talk to other people in recovery. And that way I'm transparent with what I'm doing. For me, it has to do with being accountable, because the minute that I'm not accountable for my actions, I start making mistakes, and I start making, decisions that are harming others. So those are the two main factors that I do, or the two main things that I do.
Great, thank you. Great answer. So everybody, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question or make a comment, please.
I just want to say thank you for being my sponsor, Amanda, and I love you, and I appreciate your share. Hi, Camille.
And I got a question.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you do to reward yourself for your recovery? Hobby, fun? What are you doing that's just makes you feel good inside as an extra?
Yeah. So self-care is important, right? Which I kind of struggle with sometimes, but Something that I do is I like to fish or I like to go camping. And for me, like my higher power is Mother Nature, right? Something that I can't control and change. So anywhere that I can get connected to nature, that's what I'm doing. So.
Right on. Thank you.
I don't have a question, Amanda. Mine's just more of a comment, but I just want you to know how proud of you that I am and how much I value the work that you've put into your recovery. I know that I've shared this with you several times. I was the first few years of my recovery were just abstinence, and you are what attracted me to the program. Watching your growth and watching, your life change is what really gave me hope and what really attracted me to the program. And because of that, like I've been able to put in the work that I've needed to kind of have that self-growth and, you know what I mean? Just all the things that come along with working an honest program. And, for us to have struggled the way that we struggled in our addictions and come out on the other side of it and still have our relationship and our friendship, you're my best friend, you're my sister, you're the person, one of the main people that I trust with my life, with my kids, I value everything about you and I love you so much and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Crystal.
Hey, Amanda, this is Archie again. I just want to thank you for your time. One of the things that's really impressive about you is how self-aware you are. And listening to you speak, one of the things that I think that all too often we all forget about in our daily journeys in life is how important just showing up is. No matter how bad the day may seem like it's gonna be or whatever, but just show up and give 100% and just have faith and confidence in yourself. I'm really impressed with your again, your self-awareness, how you see clearly now, and also this aspect of realizing how sometimes our lack of confidence, even though it's like this interpersonal thing that we think that we're not good enough, or because we're not good enough we don't do things, or we're just running for that escape. It's really, really selfish, and because it makes those people that love us, we take that time of ourselves away from them. And you kind of hit it on all cylinders or all points tonight about once you realize how this selfish behavior was so destructive and impactful to your family, when you came back around and were aware of that, while it's very, very sad about your grandmother, but you got to be there, and that's something that that's in your heart forever. So I just want to thank you from my heart.
Thank you, Archie.
My name's Tamara and I'm an alcoholic. Congratulations, Amanda. Me and you have a lot of parallels in our recovery. It's crazy. I say it all the time. God gives me timeouts today, and I thank him, maybe not at the time, but I thank him later, because it does bring me back to self. And because even though I isolated when I was drinking and stuff or using, I still didn't get to know me. So I think God gives us timeouts and giving us that grace to get to know us. So thanks, Jimmy, for inviting me. Yay. Thanks to see everybody. I love you guys all. Love you guys. Bye.
Oh, I'll say something, because I always want to say something, because I want to say that I'm your biggest fan. But when I stop and think about it, I think that you have a lot of #1 fans that you may not know of, like Crystal and your sponsor and your mom and your dad, and Arcadia's over there like, yo, dude. And so you got like these tons of people who love you with their whole hearts, equally. And I hope that you know that, like, you're a super special person to so many people, not just to me, but to me, you know, you're not just my partner. I look up to you. I've looked up to you in schooling. I've looked up to you and how creative you are, and how I feel that you've been courageous in your work, and how courageous you've been in your life, and coming out and standing by my side as well, and being a support to me and to us, and willing to grow with another person. And I admire you in what you do in your life and how you help other people. And I know that you're going to do a lot more great things in your life. And I just want you to know that you're wonderful and beautiful and strong and loved. The end.
Love you, babe.
Amanda, thank you for sharing tonight. You know, you were one of those people in the beginning when I first got introduced to the program. You know, we were in our addiction together. So, you know, you were one of those people that I saw that was clean, right? And that was doing something different, and, you know, was working this program, and this program changed their life. And, you know, kind of like introduced me to, you know, what recovery. I think Britt Jackson was one of those people too. You know, I saw you guys around the program, and I'm like, I know both these people, and, you know, if they can do it, right, I can do it. Right. And it gave me that motivation and that hope that we all need as addicts, right? When we're in that, we don't know what we're doing. I loved how you said that about like the growth happening so fast and freaking out. That's like a real thing that happens. You touched on some really good things tonight. You talked about being of service, you know, and the main part of our disease being self-centeredness, you know, and I wouldn't have ever, you know, I wouldn't have known that there was a program, right, that could change my life. And there was these steps, right, that you could take, right, to do that and do that self-analysis and become self-aware of self, right? Because what's on the inside is reflected outward, you know, and that's what the program has taught me. And I just want to thank you for paving the way, and thank you for, you know, being, you know, vulnerable and doing what you do for the community up there. You know, that's incredible. We need more people like that everywhere in recovery, you know, and you've gone out and you've moved up and you've done that, you know, and you're being of service and you're helping other addicts get clean. And that's beautiful, because sometimes addicts get clean and they're selfish, you know, and they're not going to go out and help somebody else, you know, which is normal, right? But you know, what you're doing is really incredible. And I admire you, and I'm really proud of you and how far you've come. And I appreciate you sharing tonight. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
Love you, Amanda.
Love you, Michael.
And I like the Miracle Grow comment you made tonight. Have you used that before?
That was actually my first time pitching that. That was pretty good.
It's probably copyrighted or something, but experience the Miracle Grow in recovery. I like that.
Man, it sucks sometimes. But it's good. It's good.
All right. Anybody else like to make a comment or question? I think we've been through everybody who's currently on the line. So last call for a comment. All right. Well, Amanda, thanks again for joining us, and I'll be in touch to get you your very own Be Strong shirt. And great to hear your story. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And we'll be putting this up on YouTube within the next few days. So look for that. Follow us also on Facebook. Just look up Grace Roots Pathways to Wellness on Facebook. You'll see our page, and you can stay in touch with us on our future talks. We're going to continue, as far as I know, we're going to continue doing these on the second Thursday of each month. And so stay tuned with us. And it's always great to see how the recovery community comes together and supports each other. I think that certainly seems to be a key theme in success and being strong. So with that, good night, everybody. Stay safe. And thanks again, Amanda, for sharing your story.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda. Love you.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night, everybody.
Bye, Tamara.
Hi.